Hello and welcome back to episode 4 of the Living Room Chat podcast with Ryan and Matt.
Hello.
How are we doing, bud?
Mate, I'm all good. Finally over us. We've both been ill, haven't we? Really.
Yeah.
I'm glad I finally feel okay after 2 weeks of just feeling really, really bad.
Yes, we always do it in the UK, but everyone's like, oh, there's a bug going around. There's something going around, isn't there?
Normal conversation. First thing you meet someone, the first thing you say is, I've been ill recently. And they say, yeah, there's loads going around.
There's a bug going around.
And the other thing is, God, it's cold, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is fucking freezing.
Genuinely, it's cold. You know, I was telling you earlier, I can't see my smart meter, but yeah, £10 a day on gas at the moment.
Yeah, that's mental.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I saw another one of that on one of the Facebook groups that actually Lauren showed me, that someone was paying I think it was more than that. It was like £13 or £14 per day.
Yeah.
That's like 400 quid bills a month.
That's
a lot of money, isn't it?
I don't know why I'm laughing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not funny, is it?
But otherwise, recovered.
Yeah.
Finally caught the coronavirus a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, it took you long enough, didn't it? 2.5 years.
I was like, I'm immune. Like, I'm
I have a perfect immune system. I can fight off anything.
Yeah.
It's the third time I've had COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Third
time, yeah, and it was definitely the worst.
Yeah,
Like, I felt
awful.
so bad, wasn't it?
I felt so bad, but
because obviously it's been a massive part of our lives for the last few years, like everyone's lives, COVID this, COVID that. I genuinely didn't think it was a thing anymore.
no.
Like, I know it sounds really foolish. I know a lot of people have suffered with it, but and it's been an issue. But I genuinely didn't even think. I just thought I had a flu. I thought it was a severe state of man flu.
Well, and I feel like the world was carrying on, right? Everyone had their jabs or didn't have their jabs, and it was like, right, we're carrying on.
Yeah. It's exactly that, and you didn't even think. I didn't even think it would have been that, but tested straight up with the old double line, and there we go, out of action for a week. But generally out of action. I was so ill.
I hadn't missed putting the things up your nose.
You missed it.
Well, I hadn't missed it.
Oh, you hadn't missed it. I was going to say
I hadn't done one in 6 months, and all of a sudden that horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Poking your brain.
There we go.
Anyway.
No ideal. But other than that, yeah, I'm all good. I'm looking forward to Christmas.
Yeah, man.
Like, we're recording this. We've got 9 days to go now.
9 days for Christmas.
So a week tomorrow. No, it's less than that. A week tomorrow is Saturday, isn't it? Or Sunday?
No.
Sunday.
A week on Sunday.
Yeah, week Sunday.
There's something I like about having Christmas Day on a Sunday, and then having New Year's on a Sunday as well.
Well, Lauren's birthday is New Year's Day.
Oh, okay.
So it's always awkward because New Year's Eve, obviously everyone goes hard, drinks, and everyone wakes up in a hangover. And I just kind of feel, obviously I've been with Lauren for 11, 12 years. And every New Year's is the same. I just feel like I've got to make a massive effort to make her feel special, because it's like people have birthdays on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It just must be shit.
What you do. Yeah,
and there's actually a lot of people, I meet so many people with birthdays on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I say so many, 3 or 4.
Well, yeah. I've got one of my old uni mates' birthdays on Christmas Day, and then also New Year's Day. Lauren's now it's the 4th person I know who's got a birthday on.
Maybe because it's cold and wet. Well, no, March, April, quite a nice time of the year, isn't it? So you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of people sort of battling down.
Yeah, but they say and me and Sophie want to do this, plan for a September or an October baby. That's when it'd be the optimal time.
Yeah.
But then,
there's that I can't remember if I read it. I always say that. I can't remember if I read something. I would have read something.
Somewhere in your head.
It's somewhere in my knowledge, and I'm like a sponge. I absorb knowledge. But there's a massive proportion of professional football players that are born between September and February compared to March to August. Massive variation in favour, because if you're born earlier in the school year, you tend to be more confident because you're older in the year. So you can, when you get to the age, you can drive sooner than everyone else. You can drink sooner than everyone else.
Yeah.
You mature, even if it's a few months more. And it actually directly linked to more professional athletes who are born in the school years.
But then, and you're also starting school with almost a year's more life experience.
Yeah, because some kids start the Rising Fives. They start at they're 4 years old, 11 months, whereas someone could be starting school at 5.5 years old.
Yeah.
Marla's born in February, for example, so she's in the middle of the school year kind of thing. But yeah, there must be a science to it.
I don't know if you read the same thing in the Outliers book by Malcolm Gladwell. I've
never read that book, so I don't think I've read it.
Well, he talks about, I think it's American ice hockey players, some American sport, and it was like the professional athletes that disproportionately have like January, February birthdays.
Okay.
Because the trials would start, can't remember the details, but basically, if you're born in January, you've got almost a year's advantage over someone who's born in December.
Right, okay.
So if you play that out, and obviously kids start taking sports seriously at 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
So you play that out across the 10 years before they go pro.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
So the trials, so when the trial's there to be spotted to get into an academy or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
If they're 2 7-year-olds, but they could be 11 months apart.
Exactly.
So actually one's nearly 8.
And it was something like 80% of professional athletes had their birthdays in like January, February.
Interesting.
Oh yeah.
But if you are born outside of September, October, like it's cool. Like no worries. When's your birthday? Your birthday's like December, isn't it?
I'm March.
You're March.
Yeah.
I got that wrong,
and don't blame us, blame your parents. Anyway.
I'm November, so yeah, I'm in
November.
I'm in that 3-month category.
Yeah, nice.
Which probably talks a lot about our character.
Yeah.
Very confident. we're not young men anymore, are we?
Yeah, somebody had described himself as, I'm in my mid to late 20s the other day, and it got me thinking like, I'm in my late 20s now.
I'm in my early 30s.
You're in your early 30s?
Considerably, like I'm 33 next year.
So when's the cut-off then from like young man? I feel like 30.
I think 30 you become, but then I still feel the same as I did at like 23, 24. I don't feel any different, just I spend more on bills. And I've got a little child to support and a wife, but other than that, nothing's changed.
Don't you find though, like that's always been the case through life? I remember being like 14 and being like, when I'm 18, I'm gonna have my shit together.
You count down, and I really think like that change from 18 to 21, 22, because then once you start your career and you start moving forward from there, I genuinely think from like 21 to 28, 29, 30, nothing really changes. Okay, you buy a bigger house, you settle down with a partner, normal trends.
Yeah.
We were a bit different because we had Milo quite young. Milo was 24 when Milo was born. So our life changed massively then. But I think for most people, that 10-year window of early 2020, nothing really changes, does there?
I remember I freaked out when I turned 22. I don't know why. For some reason, it's 22. I broke up my girlfriend, went to America, and I had like a real crisis when I was 22.
What, a mid-20s crisis?
I don't know why.
That's not a thing.
It felt really like 18 was fine, like even 21 was fine. When I was 22, I was like, I'm not a kid.
I want to live my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you do, and then you get to early 30s, receding hairline. Have to go to the gym just to keep the fat off, not just to get muscly anymore. Yeah.
But it's all good.
Such is life.
Yeah.
It could be worse. You could be like 40.
Well, it's going to happen, mate.
Well, eventually,
Episode 1000.
Yeah, 40-year-old podcast. Anyway, there we go. Happy days. So,
what topics we got?
Mate, I feel like I've got some good topics for today. I feel like I've got some really good topics, actually.
I also feel like this is the biggest gap. Like, we smashed that episode 1, 2, 3.
Mate, I was on the drive over here, I was thinking exactly that, because we did, as you said, the first 3 in probably the first 2-week window, we recorded 3 episodes.
Yeah.
And now it's probably been almost 2 weeks since we last recorded.
And I know you've had business on, I've been ill.
Yeah, we've both been ill. But so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
We had our Christmas party. I think we recorded it just before our Christmas party, didn't we?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
we said about going to London on the Saturday. So that would have been a Wednesday or Thursday. That would have been like early December, like 1st. It must be over 2 weeks now.
The Christmas party was fun though, wasn't it?
It was good fun. Yeah, really good fun. Other than the hangover and then COVID.
What time did you leave?
We got picked up about 1:30 from my mate Tom. Shout out Tom. Thanks, bro. Drove all the way to London to pick us up. So yeah, about 1:30. We got home about 3:30. It's not even a bad night. But it was good fun though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was great fun.
It's good laugh. Yeah. Good laugh. Bunga in Covent Garden. Great place. Good laugh.
Yeah, it's fun.
Awesome, yeah. But anyway, the first topic I had, I've got a few to run through. But I thought we'd start, we spoke a little bit about it. It coincided with us being on death's door, being ill, not being able to move out of bed. The Harry and Meghan documentary that came out.
Jeez, yeah.
So I've only seen, the second 3 episodes were released yesterday, which was Thursday.
There's another 3?
Yeah, there's 6 episodes, isn't there, I think, in total. I'm pretty sure there's 6. So I watched the first 3, you've watched the first 3. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the first three.
What was your initial thoughts to it?
I want to just firstly say it has no impact on my life, and I shouldn't care. Also, and like everyone, I was really triggered by it.
I was intrigued. Like, we've watched The Crown, which obviously I know is dramatised, but
Yeah.
I do enjoy that sort of stuff. But I love a little docu-series, and when it's people that you've seen every week or month of your lives in the paper. Like, we grew up like that. Like, Harry's only a couple of years older. I think he might even be the same age as me. Was he like mid-30s?
I think he's a bit older than you.
A couple of years older.
Yeah.
But even so, like, you know, I've grown up seeing him on TV from the day I can remember.
Yeah, same. And I just, my overriding feeling is just I'm really sad that it's taken such a sour turn. And the older I get, the more I respect the royal family.
Yeah.
I like that they are, you know, I know it's not perfect, and I know, you know, people say, oh, taxpayers' money, whatever. I just like that they represent like traditional English values, Christian country. Like, there's something about that.
Yeah.
You know, well spoken. The Queen's English.
Was English. No, she is English. Something, you know what I mean.
But they're like.
No, I know what you mean.
They represent like. There's something that's good in that for me.
Yeah.
So I think it's a shame.
I do and I don't. Like, they've talked a lot about, revamping the royal family. I know King Charles, obviously, I know The Crown is dramatised, but he's always talked about revolutionising the way the Crown is perceived and the way that the royal family is perceived in the public eye. Trying to be self-sufficient, trying to be less, I think, flamboyant with money. Obviously, they've got a lot of money with all the estates they own and everything. Yeah. But at the same time, they're there to represent, as you said, what is best of Britain. And it's a shame. I think it's a shame it's got built up into this. I know some people are really, either pro or against what they're doing. I don't know. I'm not sure which category Piers Morgan fell into. I think he was on the fence a little bit, wasn't he?
Yeah, quite impartial. He doesn't have many strong opinions, does he?
No, he doesn't, to be fair to him. But actually watching it, my wife and I kind of disagree a little bit, because she's watched it and thought, like, what are they talking about? I don't really understand. I haven't really seen anything that's like, wow, I totally get where they're coming from. Well, I'm the opposite. Like, the invasion of privacy that comes with the territory of them being born into the royal family, but that is the point. They're born into it. They've never asked for it. No,
but then I also think Prince William plays the role perfectly.
Yeah, he is the model prince, isn't he?
And Harry's always been the cheeky, chappy younger brother. And Harry, to be fair to him, they've been through a lot, and with Diana and everything.
Yeah.
I just don't like that. It seems to me like Meghan didn't really know anything about the royal family. No. She was successful in her own right.
Yeah.
And, this is fun, a prince. Oh, nice, Prince of England. And then, and I don't think she understood and then really had enough respect for the monarchy.
No, I see that side of the argument, but at the same time, I think they in the series, certainly in that opening episode and a half where they talked about how they met and the secret dating, etc.
Sure.
I do generally feel that they fell in love, and what's wrong with that?
Yeah, no,
and
totally.
they've had to forge out their own path.
Yeah.
Which I can only respect.
I totally agree, and it was nice actually, all the footage from like when they met before everyone knew about it. And also, I think I speak for most people when I say I think most people were happy. Yeah, like, Prince Harry's got this Hollywood girlfriend. Happy days. It
was, and I'm looking forward to the next 3 episodes to see what really comes out. I think the institutional racism, and that's not just within the royal family, but I think us as white British can't really understand. Racism is obviously a very difficult subject to discuss, because any white person in the UK, I don't really feel has the right to talk about it, because they don't understand. They haven't got the heritage of understanding what it meant. there's still massive parts of the history books missing. They talk about it obviously in terms of the slavery, etc., and everything, to be stigmatised still, and for certain things to be said from the royal family against Meghan and her child, I think was wrong.
Oh yeah, there were those comments.
I mean, very small comments, but it doesn't matter. And like the brooch that the one of the relatives wore, which was, I think, a symbol for slavery, or I can't remember the exact story of it, but
I think the trouble is, and it kind of, when the episode went back into the British Empire, and when they abolished slavery in the early 1800s, I kind of thought, like, is this appropriate for us to be digging into the British Empire like this from this angle?
But then not enough is said about it, though.
But
I know it's past, and obviously we would never, the way the world is now, that would never happen. Well,
no.
Certainly from us.
I just think there's a line between, like, are we just going to always be like punching ourselves in the dicks about what our ancestors did 200 years ago?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
And I think if you look at the world, we have obviously moved on. Mm-hmm. Even look at the rhetoric from a royal family and how I don't want to say inclusive, it's obviously not inclusive, but like, you don't look at King Charles and think, oh, he's a racist old boy.
No.
You don't.
But then actually it might just be generational, because, we've all been there with an elderly relative where they've said something a bit like, oh shit, you shouldn't really say that.
Yeah.
And he is, what is he like? Must be in his late 70s?
Yeah.
Early 80s?
Yeah.
It is a generational difference.
Yeah.
And that's why I think people like Prince William, Prince Harry. The biggest shame, I think, with what's happened is if they, again, we're not in their position, we can't really see what they're doing, but if they just weathered the storm for what, as things move on and Prince William becomes the head of the state, eventually he'll be king.
Yeah.
And having Prince Harry and Meghan and their kids, it changes the perspective of the royal family for the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all they had to do was hold on, like, what's King Charles got? 10, 15 years?
Yeah.
Like, he's not in the best of health from what we've heard anyway. So,
and then it looks completely different.
Yeah.
It looks more modern.
Yeah.
And I don't think really anyone, I find it really hard to believe anyone has a real problem with the colour of Meghan's skin.
No, I generally don't.
And I think the relationship between the royal family and the media is obviously the problem here, same as it was with Diana.
Yeah. But that's never going to change, because, as I said, as they made reference to in that documentary, the British media feel they have the right to cover. There's some sort of agreement, isn't there, which we're never going to know about as mere mortals. But it's an interesting one. I really enjoyed it because I love a docu-series.
Yeah.
I'm pro Harry and Meghan to do whatever they want. Great decision.
Yeah,
and fair play to them for not making a stand, but living their lives.
Don't you think it's a shame though for it to be so sour? Like they have?
I'm not saying it's the right. I'm not saying they've got their faults, but I'm all for them. I think it's great if that's what they want to do. Look, he's not going to be king. He doesn't really need to do it. Let's be honest. He's got like 4 in a row. Like, William and then his 3 kids. He ain't going to be king, is he?
Well,
ever.
And I thought that as well. I thought, actually, when you take a step back, you think, actually, Harry, you're not that important, bro.
Yeah, he's a senior royal. That's fine. And his, obviously, the Duke and the Queen dedicated their lives to serve the country, and the amount of things they did. Good for them, but the country's changed now, and maybe you don't necessarily. I mean, William's got enough kids, so they can do all the senior stuff, can't they?
Yeah.
That's the way they want to live.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think it'll be more and more. I mean, there's been, the royal family's been shrouded in controversy for many, many years, as seen on The Crown, and various things have happened. And this is just another chapter in the royal family's history. Yeah. And there'll be more in 10 years' time. There'll be more controversy on something else.
Yeah, something else will happen.
George is going to do something, wrong at a party.
Yeah, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, the media's going to be jumping on him.
And actually, one thing I did think watching the series, I thought, I wonder if Harry and Meghan will last. Because if they don't, I hope they do. if they don't, that series is going to look really silly.
Yeah, I think they will. Like, I genuinely feel like they are a team, and
Yeah, it seems.
Well, that did happen quite quick. Like from when they met to married to now, like it's only been like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
2017, wasn't it?
And all of, if they settle in California in their new life away from the monarchy completely,
Yeah.
That's a
Well,
real
they're set up for
change
life
for
now,
them.
aren't they, with the old book deals and Netflix? I think they got paid like a stupid amount of money for it.
Yeah, I mean, money's never going to be a problem. Ever.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So,
indeed.
yeah.
Anyway.
Another thing that annoyed me, I think it was in the first episode, where it's like all of the stuff about Meghan and being from like downtown LA
Yeah.
and all of this. I'm like, it's not like Harry just went on Instagram and found some bird like who was a waitress in a fucking Denny's in America. Do you know what I mean? Like she was.
No, she's a professional, award-winning actress who did a lot for charity.
It was made out like she's just this.
And she was great on Suits as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and so everyone knew her. But it's not like if she wasn't someone in her own right, Harry wouldn't have known about her in the first place.
Yeah,
and it would have never happened.
Yeah,
and also because she was someone in her own right, I think it sounds to me like she looked at the royal family and just thought it's an extension of Hollywood.
Yeah,
like in the UK they just have a royal family and it's just like Hollywood is here. So I think
so much more.
It must have been such a shock for her.
Yeah.
And she says there's that scene when she's like, "Oh, American people will understand." It was like they have like not mock ceremonies. She was like, when she imitated the curtsy she did to the Queen.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I kind of remember it.
And she was like, American people like reenact medieval stuff.
Fine, so it can't be that difficult.
And it just must have been such a
that was
shock.
quite a funny scene actually when she said, like, when Harry said to her, "You know how to curtsy, don't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure." He's like, "No, seriously, I need to bow to my grandmother, and you need to curtsy to her."
Yeah,
it's like a thing. And she was like, "Really?"
But as someone like Meghan, when you're from Hollywood and you know nothing about the royal family, she must have been like,
they only know what they see on the press, especially overseas. That
there has to be a part of her though that thinks, I'm Meghan Markle, I don't have to curtsy for anyone.
Like, I disagree with that.
I don't know.
I think everyone, maybe she wasn't aware, but I don't think she's that sort of person where she's, I'm this person.
Not in an ego sense, just in a sense of like, it must have just been so alien to her.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, because you don't do that normally, but they did. There we go. Anyway, I'm interested. I'm looking forward to the final 3 episodes and see what goes on from there.
I am. And as I said, it has no impact on my life whatsoever.
Absolutely. It's just good TV.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What topics have you got to discuss?
What do I have to discuss? I've been viral a few times on TikTok recently.
Have you?
I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't. I've seen a couple. I saw that post that went quite big, like 440,000.
Oh yeah,
views.
Yeah, well, I was sat in McDonald's the other week, having a 99p Mayo chicken, and there's
big spender you.
I know, right? Closing those big deals, and it was when I sat down, I was eating, I realised there's classical music blaring out.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that at McDonald's?
No, I haven't. I might very rarely have McDonald's, let alone sit in there.
It was so peaceful.
Was it?
And they had classical music blaring out the speakers, and I didn't even cotton on until I'd been in there like 2 minutes.
Wow.
And so anyway, I made this like 7-second TikTok of me just eating my burger with this classical music on the background.
Yeah, what was the catch line?
The caption was McDonald's blasting out classical music to keep the youths away is such a vibe. I can't remember exactly what the caption was. 2.5 million people have seen it.
We'll put it on the screen. 2.5 million views.
2.5 million views.
My man.
2.5 million.
Mate, you need to put a link back to the Living Room Chat podcast and that off the back of it. Wow, so you've gone full viral. Because I would say anything. I've had a couple of like 25,000, 30,000 view videos.
Yeah.
Which for me is like my peak at the moment. And I know you've had a couple of 100,000s, but 2.5 million.
It's just crazy. And then I posted it, and I think the next day I woke up, it had 500,000.
Yeah.
And then in the space of an hour, I watched it go up like 100,000 people.
Wow.
And I was like, that's a whole Wembley Stadium's worth of people.
Yeah. Amazing. 2.5 million.
But what's so interesting about it is I post loads of shit and I don't think about it, and this was another one of those videos.
Yeah.
And it's always the stuff that you don't think about and you don't put any time into.
We talked about this before, like those videos where we spend like an hour prepping for them, half an hour recording, half an hour editing, and you get like 200 views.
Yeah.
Or the 8-second, well, look at this, look what I'm doing. Bang. Straight on the reels and thousands of views instantly.
And it goes off. Yeah. And what I love about TikTok is the conversations that starts in the comment section.
Yeah.
So, for example, that McDonald's video.
You're going to put a clip on, are you?
Yeah, I'll put
a clip up there so we can see it, yeah.
And started off a whole conversation about hostile architecture.
Wow, okay.
You know, and like what, you know, do young kids have a right to hang out at McDonald's or not? Like, does McDonald's have a role to play in like hosting the young people? And it's like, it starts off all of these like social and political conversations.
Love that.
I thought was quite funny.
Love that. Cool. So a little plug for at the Reading Agent on TikTok.
I'm Mr. Sell Your Home.
Oh, Mr. Sell Your Home, aren't you? Yeah. Why did you go with the Reading Agent? Was you'd already started TikTok before?
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted the Mr. Sell Your Home for all of my socials.
Yeah.
I think it was taken on Facebook and Instagram.
Right. So you switched it to the Reading Agent, which is fine. So which is cool.
That's what it is.
Awesome. Well, here comes first segue of episode 4, because my next topic does loosely revolve around social media, and it's a 3-pronged topic, and I'm really interested to hear your vibes and your thoughts. Social media, the age-old chat of who's the GOAT, Messi or Ronaldo.
Oh yeah.
And then into the World Cup final.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah, okay.
And the reason I want to talk about it is obviously off the back of Argentina and Lionel Messi making the World Cup final in what will be Lionel Messi's last game at the World Cup.
Yeah.
He's already confirmed that.
Right.
He's in his 5th World Cup. I want him to win it. He's 35 years old.
Yeah.
He's already said he's not going to play in the next one.
Right.
I don't think Ronaldo's going to play in the next one either. He's 38.
Yeah, he's not.
I mean, it wouldn't put it past him being 42-year-old, but I don't think the Portuguese coach or any coach for that matter is going to want him.
No, he's not. No.
The topic of conversation I wanted to bring up, and it follows on from that chat on social media there. Like, between the two of us, we probably got 3,000 to 4,000 followers across our social media platform. It's not mostly yours, I must admit, but we haven't got a huge amount of following. Well, you look confused there.
I'm just trying to tally it up, but yeah, it's probably about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how many have you got on TikTok? About 1,500?
TikTok's 1,500. Yeah, I got about 700 on Instagram.
Yeah. I've probably got about 1,500 across all my platforms.
Yeah.
Personal and business. Anyway, we digress.
Follow Ryan.
Cheers. Links in the description. And the point I wanted to make about who's the greatest of all time, and it comes on social media because, and it will reveal itself in a second. So, Lionel Messi, arguably the most talented and gifted player to ever grace a football pitch. Arguably the best.
Arguably.
I don't think anyone been better before, and I don't think anyone will be better after. That's my opinion. Ronaldo, on the other hand, quite rightly in the same bracket and conversation as Messi, as Pele, as the other greats that have existed, but for a different reason, because he's an absolute perfectionist, an athlete, and what he's done, the things he's won, the goals he's scored, is nothing short of remarkable.
Yeah.
And I've always been on the fence of who is the best of all time. It's one of them, and I don't think anything else can be disputed. But the point I wanted to make is, on the field, they both have traits, and solid traits at that. They could argue one way or the other.
Yeah.
Off the field, how Cristiano Ronaldo has conducted himself, in my opinion, over the last 2 or 3 months, starting with his Fallout United, the Piers Morgan interview.
Yeah.
But what summed it up for me massively, and this is going to link back into that social media, when he lost to Morocco in that round of 16, or was it the quarterfinals? I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. He walked off the pitch, and there's obviously the film of there's the clips of him walking out crying up the tunnel as he went into the changing room, and it's the fucking Ronaldo show.
Yeah.
Whereas you're captain of your country. Harry Kane missed the penalty to put us out of the World Cup. Okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't walk down the tunnel crying and being a little bitch. He stayed on the pitch and he was with his teammates. He thanked the fans. He congratulated the French players. He had a big hug with Hugo Lloris, obviously his club captain.
Yeah.
But he was on the pitch there. And I think the way Messi's carried his team and been there, he is an absolute hero for Argentina. You can see it with his teammates. You can see it with the fans. And I just think the way Ronaldo, and this is my social media plug, 500 million followers on social media, surely has a not a duty of care, but he has to conduct himself better. Yeah, you lost to Morocco. Like, that is a massive shock. And it's his last chance to win the World Cup. And I get that anyone at that point would be upset and frustrated and angry of how things came about. The fact that he didn't start the game as well obviously wouldn't have helped.
Yeah.
But for him just to walk off the pitch and not thank the fans that have travelled halfway around the world, spent fortunes to go and support him and his team as the captain of his country, didn't sit right with me.
You make a good point, and I hadn't thought about it. I saw him walking off the pitch and I going into the dugout, and he was obviously emotional. But my counter to that is, does that impact whether he's the best football player of all time?
Yeah, it does.
So what you're saying is, what you do on the pitch is a percentage of it, and then what you do off the pitch. A
massive percentage. I think, for me, if I had to break it down, I would say it's 75% what you do on the pitch.
Yeah.
15% about what you win, personal accolades,
fair,
team, and then 10% how you conduct yourself off the pitch. To be deemed and seen back in the history books as the greatest of all time, I think Messi is now going to be that guy. If we look back in 15 years' time, who was the greatest? Like, it'll be Messi, and then there'll be Ronaldo and Pele.
See, I've always backed Ronaldo than the Messi.
And I must admit, I have as well at times.
I remember the 2014 World Cup, and also we don't see Messi. I don't see Messi, and it's not a match of a day. Like, I don't watch like Spanish football so much. So I didn't see him as much, maybe, which is why I've maybe always favoured Ronaldo. But I remember the 2014 World Cup, watching Messi with Argentina and thinking, I didn't think he had many good games. I remember thinking, okay. And then he's always been at Barcelona, so he's always been in a
good team,
safe environment.
Yeah.
Whereas I see Ronaldo, and it's really clear how much he applies himself.
Yeah.
And then he's also succeeded everywhere he's been, which I think shows that it's him, the individual, not the team around him. Obviously, since then, Messi's gone to Paris, and I understand.
He didn't start well. Like, there was the whole thing with Ronaldo coming to United the first year, and the same year that Messi went to PSG.
Yeah.
And I think after 10 games, I think Ronaldo had like 8 goals and 5 assists, and Messi had no goals, 1 assist.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying, but I've seen games where Messi's been like out of this world, like in over his career over such a long time. They both have.
Yeah.
But I think if you try and sum them up at the later stages of their career, you can't judge their whole career on the last few months or years.
No.
And true. I agree. In the World Cup 2014, Messi, like Argentina, weren't very good, and they had a terrible team, and Messi didn't play well particularly.
Yeah.
And you'd argue that the first couple of games this tournament. But looking at watching him in the masterclass that he provided in the semi-final, it's Croatia. I know they beat us in the semis a couple of years ago, but they're not. They didn't deserve to be there. Sorry, beg your pardon. They deserved to be there because they were there on merit. But Brazil should have been in that. Yeah, it should have been Brazil Argentina, really, semi-final.
Sure.
But he did fucking boss the game.
Yeah.
And in the quarters he was awesome. Round of 16 he was decent. Like, he's grown into this tournament. This is Lionel Messi's tournament.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that Argentina win it. I don't want France to be back-to-back world champions.
No, and they knocked us out.
And they knocked us out, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, it should be us in the final, shouldn't it? Like, to dominate a second half.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think if, obviously, I'm still in shock that I've settled down now a week later, but I'm still in shock that he missed that second penalty.
Same.
Like, because Lauren kept shouting at me. We were watching it together as a family. Lauren kept shouting at me for getting angry at the TV, and I literally sat when he took the penalty. I was like, right, I'm not going to cheer. I'm just going to go yes. And then he went over. I was like, did that just happen?
Yeah.
Even waking up the next morning, I woke up. You know, when you've just done something wrong the previous day. You're just playing on your mind. You wake up and think,
bottom of your
did
stomach.
he miss that?
Yeah.
He did miss that, didn't he? Gutted for him. The only consolation is Harry Kane's a Tottenham player. That's the only consolation I can look at.
What did we need though? One more penalty? 2 more penalties? Because the argument was the ref was on the French team side.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I must admit, I was absorbed so much in the game. I didn't. I mean, obviously, the goal that France scored was a clear foul on Saka. And that should have gone back. But it's happened now.
Yeah.
I just think the way we played in that second half, we lost on the day, but it wasn't one of those performances where we went out that we were just terrible and we deserved to go out.
No, you're right.
And it still hurts, but I enjoyed the game to an extent. Obviously, the result was disappointing, of course, but they played well.
The second half they played well. It was really heartbreaking for me. The first 10-15 minutes they were all over us, and I was like, "Here we are."
Yeah.
We finally
1-0 down.
this put us in our place.
Yeah.
Because on the first podcast episode, you were super.
Yeah. You said
England.
Chorus, didn't you? And I said England to win it.
I was really like, I don't think we're going to do that well. And then I was like,
we could do this.
We could do it. And I said about Harry Maguire as well, and I thought Harry Maguire had a good tournament. And then I felt like first half I thought France put us in our place, and then for us to come back in the second half and then still go out.
Yeah, I know. Well, they had like 2 or 3 shots on target, didn't they, in the second half, and they scored one of them. Like we were all over them in that little spell where they had 2 shots in a row, and then obviously Giroud. It was Giroud that scored the winner, wasn't it?
To be honest, I was necking whiskies throughout the whole game. To be honest, by the time we got to 86 minutes,
I'm looking for. I didn't watch the France-Morocco game. I watched the Argentina game because I wanted to watch it, but I wasn't interested in watching France-Morocco because I just kept thinking, should be us.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to the final, and I am not sitting on the fence. I 100% want Argentina to win. Like, absolutely, I will be cheering them on.
Yeah.
Despite the Falkland Islands issues. Yeah. There's no issues, is it? Yeah. But that would have been imagine Argentina-England final. How good that would have been.
Yeah. If only.
If only. So there we go. So that was my 3-way topic.
Yeah. Interesting.
Should we talk some property stuff?
Yeah.
I know we had the last episode was just flat out estate agency chat.
Agency. Well.
But I've done a couple of live. I did 2 live chats yesterday across social media. I did one with a financial advisor off the back.
I saw you. Yeah.
Yeah, with Adam Davey, off the back of the interest rate rises. Some really interesting stuff that came out of that. And then I was on the live avocado partner chat last night as well. Similar context, talking about the market, talking about interest rate rises, how that's going to affect the market.
So my understanding then, the base rate went up yesterday, and we're now at 3.5%.
Correct.
My understanding is this has been anticipated.
It's the worst kept secret for the last 2 weeks. Everyone knew the interest rate was going to go up.
So the mortgage lenders have been expecting a rate rise, and so most of that is baked into their products already.
Well, yes and no. So this is the point I raised with the broker Adam Davey. The reason mortgage rates spiked so much off the back of the mini budget was because of the volatility that it created in the economy and the swap rates. So the money that the rates that the banks borrow money to lend went up, and it wasn't they weren't sure where it was going to set, which is why rates hiked to 6.5%. Yeah. That swap rate has settled down, and they know where it is now. Yeah. So the Bank of England raising the interest rate has no direct effect on mortgage rates because the swap rates is what affects mortgage products. Yeah. So the rates are going to stay the same. Adam thinks they're going to drop continuously throughout next year. So we should be sub 4% again by Q3, Q4 is what he's predicting. But they're between 4.5%, 5.5% at the moment. Sure.
But the swap rates only went crazy after the mini budget because
the economy went into turmoil because all it like, well, we're gonna cut all of this product. We're gonna cut all of the debt. We're gonna cut taxes. We're gonna do all this. And how are you gonna afford that? We haven't really thought about that.
The magic money tree.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we planted some money trees. That was it.
Yeah.
Well done, Quazzy and Liz. But that's what sent the the background economy into turmoil. They didn't know which way they were looking, and that's what caused the hike in mortgage rates.
So rates at the moment are somewhere between 4.5% and 5%.
Yeah, up to 5.5%. Adam was saying.
Where does he see them settling?
So he thinks between 4.5% is going to be sort of the average, but throughout next year, dropping below 4% is well on the cards. And a lot of the lenders have made so much money over the last 2 years. As of 1st of Jan, a lot of them their lending targets start again.
Sure.
So they're running a business like anyone. They have targets to hit, to lend money, and he was saying a lot of them want to position themselves to be attractive for people to genuinely want to use them rather than just as the best deal.
Sure.
And the best way to do that is put those best deals out.
Because I have noticed actually, there just doesn't seem to be as much competition in the mortgage market.
No.
And like you say, I think maybe banks, they've hit the targets, chilling.
Yeah, I think it's difficult for us. I always made a thing. Obviously, quick disclaimer: we're not financial advisors, so please don't take any advice from us. Seek professional help.
Do your own research.
Speak to Adam Davey or whoever you use. Well, who did you use again?
Dom, the Money Guardian.
Dom, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice chat. Lost my drift there. What was I going to say? Completely forgot.
Mortgage market. Predicted rate rises. Banks targets.
Banks targets, yeah. No, it's gone. Completely gone. That's the first time it's happened in a podcast. I've literally lost my train of thought.
It's the informal kind of vibe we got going on here. But
while I did my disclaimer, I was so passionate about the disclaimer that we were sued that I forgot what I was going to say. But we'll move on. But yeah, I think the mortgage world is going to stabilise, and with that, the property world will as well.
I read an article yesterday about property market next year, and top line prices are going to come down, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's going to happen. I think everyone there's consensus that's going to happen. This article was saying, though, unless we have the flood of stock to the market, like you've talked about before, we could enter this quite stale period where people are not willing to reduce the asking prices enough to get sold.
Yeah.
The buyers aren't willing to pay enough.
Yeah.
They're not willing to accept the asking prices. So we kind of enter this kind of stale market.
On the flip side to that, and which I tell a lot of my sellers at the moment, if there is a lack of properties, and there still is a lack of properties available, if there's a lack of properties coming to the market, then that's only going to enhance competition from buyers.
Yeah.
And there's always, and it's one of my favourite sayings, you know what I'm going to say, but there's always the chat, is it a seller's market, is it a buyer's market? It's never either.
Yeah.
But the seller controls what market it is, because if they price their house too high, it's a buyer's market. If they price their house undervalued to create competition, it's a seller's market.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's a real simple equation.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you market your house correctly, price it at value or slightly below value to stimulate interest, you're going to sell super quick and enjoy it.
As I was speaking with a seller this morning, and I sent them the report from Rightmove showing how many clicks there's been, and it's thousands and thousands of clicks. He said, I can't believe how many people look at the advert, and I don't think people don't understand the attention that there is on the property portals.
Yeah,
and we both know if you put an attractively priced property on the market, whatever it is, whatever condition, whatever location, if it's attractively priced, even if the marketing is mediocre, people are going to see it.
Yeah, and that speaks in its own right. Obviously, there's a website behind Rightmove called Rightmove Plus, which you have to be an estate agent to get access to, and it's basically our hub for controlling our properties on Rightmove. And obviously, under our company brand, although we're individual estate agents, we're all on the same brand page. So there's at any one point, there's always maybe 100, 150 properties available?
Yeah, I wonder what it is.
I don't even know how many, we sell quite a lot of them. Let's say 100. But when you put a new listing live, it goes straight to the top of the page because it's done on the 7-day average of how many views you've got. And the amount of times you see houses, they're at the top for a week max, because after that they're sold.
Yeah.
But the ones that go in and they don't reach the top straight away from the initial launch, and they're stuck around the mid-range average views, they're the ones that aren't getting the interest. And it's normally for one reason and one reason only, and that is the price. Simple as that.
We say it all the time, don't we? You've got one chance to make a first impression when you go on the market, and that is so important to get right.
It's crazy though, and I think everyone spoke about this. Like I'm going to list more houses in December than I did in October and November put together.
Yeah, which weird month for you.
Yeah, it is. Like you obviously, when we met this morning, you're like, I'm looking forward. I've got loads going on, but I can wind down a little bit for Christmas now.
Yeah.
I'm flat out next week. I've got a listing in Newbury on Monday, got a listing in Lower Early on Tuesday. I've got 2 other properties that potentially come back to me for getting live on Thursday. We've just done that listing in South Reading. That'll be going live over the weekend. So I've suddenly got 5, 6, 7 properties that all want to go live between Christmas and New Year. Man, I'm going to be flat out in January. I need to book some open houses in, actually, thinking about it.
Well, there's also, typically it's a quiet period.
Yeah.
But for you, you're obviously really busy. So I think there's something for us as, single individual businesses where, the market is kind of more around us individually. Like, we're less focused on trends. Yeah. And more just about, like... I think
the volume difference. So when, I've worked in some big town centre offices where you needed, like, the office needed to list 30 properties per month, so 1 a day. Yeah. Just to keep things moving as it should do. Yeah. And when we're talking numbers of listing 2, 3, 4 properties a month, and if we sell 2 or 3, we're really comfortable, and that's perfect because it means we've got time to spend with our clients. And actually, we've worked really hard, obviously, but I haven't got the pressure of listing 30 properties a month. So listing 3 a couple of days before Christmas and getting them live and doing viewings between Christmas and New Year, I've never had that. I've never had the opportunity to do that. Yeah. And I'm really excited for that and being there for my clients every step of the way.
I think it's so nice, mate. And I think we, like you say, an office having to list 30 properties a month just to keep the doors open, you're incentivising different behaviour there.
Yeah. Whereas it's getting the house on the market, fuck the price.
By any means necessary.
Fuck the fee, fuck the client's motivation, just get it on the market and tick a box.
And this is what I say to clients, is I'm not dictated to by targets set to me by a boss. Yeah. I'm here to get the job done for you.
Yeah, and give you the right advice, truly right advice, not advice I've been told to give by someone else. Yeah, exactly. And that is in a nutshell, sums us up, I think.
And because ultimately, if we give the wrong advice, right, it's our problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it doesn't sell, it's my money going into marketing, it's my time doing the viewings. Yeah. There's no basic salary if I'm giving the right advice because our interests are perfectly aligned.
Yeah, I want to get it sold because I want to get paid and I want to do a good job for you. And the best way to do that is give you the right advice to move it forward, and it's going to help you in the long run, rather than telling you necessarily what you want to hear. And that might be even pricing on a valuation. It might be when to reduce the property. It might be what to do on viewings. But the advice we give is sound, and it comes directly from us. There's no one else involved in it, which I think is a really nice position to be in.
How are you feeling about next year? Because I'm almost anticipating it's going to be really difficult to get sellers to accept the market's changed.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, I'm fortunate, whichever way you look at it. I built a nice little pipeline of sales going through up probably 8 to 10 weeks ago. Yeah. And a lot of it should have gone in November and December, and for various reasons, nothing's happened. So I've got loads of completions that are going to have probably 5 or 6 properties that will complete in January. Yeah, and that's going to give me a nice little cash advance effectively for the 4 or 5 months just to focus on getting properties on the market and giving the right advice. Yeah. But I think what's going to happen is the market's going to find its feet, and I think January, February, March is going to be busy with new houses coming on the market.
Because I think if what we said is correct, that interest rates kind of come down and settle somewhere around like 4%, maybe a bit below, all of a sudden...
It's the new norm.
Yeah, all of a sudden it's not so doom and gloom, and people carry on moving.
And I think they will, because there's always I think we said it in the last podcast. There's always people that need to move, whether they're upsizing, downsizing, job relocation, death, divorce. There's a lot of divorce files in January too. Oh yeah, you want to book a valuation? What's the reason?
I hate my husband.
Yeah. I've spent 2 weeks with him over Christmas, and I'm done. Good for you, girl. So I'm sure it's his loss. I always say that on evaluation when someone phones up and books a separation or valuation. Obviously, it's a difficult situation.
It's impossible to.
It is. And as soon as they say, I was like, "Are you the sole owner?" "Yeah, I own it with my ex." "Oh, so is it for the divorce?" And they say, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm sorry for your loss." I'd say not that they've died. Sorry for that. I'm sure it's their loss.
Yeah.
And every time, no one ever says no. Actually, it's definitely my loss.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm definitely worse off.
Yeah. Anyway, no one ever says that.
How do you find? Let's talk about divorce sales,
Yeah. Okay.
because they're a part of their job, aren't they? And
Massive. Yeah.
one of my first deals was a couple splitting up, and it was a very good deal for me to learn, because I realised in every divorce sale, there's the party who wants to sell for rocket money, and there's a party who just wants to get it sold yesterday.
Yeah. And often the person who wants to sell it for rocket money, he or she, is the one living in the house.
Yeah.
And the one who wants to sell it as quickly as possible is the one that's moved out.
Yeah.
Which is inevitable. I think the key that I've always found, obviously 15 years in the business, I've dealt with hundreds of divorce valuations and divorce sales. The key, like everything, is 100% communication direct with both parties.
Yeah.
Because as much as they might be amicable or they might not be, they have ulterior motives.
Yeah.
Often. And you say one thing to one of them and it gets misinterpreted to the other one, and suddenly you've got them on your back.
Yeah.
So I always make sure, regardless of who I speak to, I follow up every point in an email. Now, obviously, I've got a WhatsApp group. It's an easy fix because there's never a breakdown in communication. So that's the key. But you've just got to manage. It's having two vendors for the price of one. Literally, you've got to manage both expectations.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And it's I think there's also, I'm like, let's focus on the deal. You know, before we put the house on the market, we agree the goal is to sell it for X price. I don't care about
it's very. I mean, all house sales are very emotional, but when there's that added heartache of splitting with your partner and going through a divorce as well at the same time of trying to sell a property, like, it must be horrible. But at the end of the day, we're not like divorce counsellors. We're there to do a job and get the property sold.
Yeah.
Part of that is, of course, managing vendors' situations naturally, but at the same time, like, a lot of them it can get quite vile in terms of the conversations you have with people. You know, if they don't accept an offer, well, he's a fucking lying bastard. And like, cool, I don't need to hear about his 17 affairs. I don't care. I'm sorry you've gone through that, but let's focus on the goal here. Get the house sold.
It's awkward, mate, because I find people are usually quite happy to overshare with us as agents.
Oh, mate, they do. We're like free therapy.
Yeah.
We literally are.
And that's why I have to remind myself, no, like, we're focusing on the deal.
Yeah.
Like, everything else is kind of not anymore.
Whether it's just our natural way of being, the people we are as estate agents, we're very open. We ask questions that people don't normally have to answer. That opens them up very quickly. It's a skill that we learn over time of how to,
I suppose
because
you're right.
we need to know the seller's situation so we can best advise them. But it's not very often. I think about this quite a lot. Imagine just opening the door to a stranger. Okay, you might have seen us online on a video, or you might have spoke to us on the phone and booking a valuation, but you're opening your house, your safe place, to a complete stranger, and within 10 minutes, often you're telling them all about your lives, why you're moving, kids on the way, don't like them, whatever it may be, and you for an hour you tell them everything about you.
Yeah.
There's not many places you wouldn't walk into a coffee shop and just start chatting to the barista, and within an hour you've told them your whole life story.
No, exactly.
It just wouldn't happen.
And I found that when I first got a mortgage, I was like, this mortgage broker, I only met him the other day, and now I'm telling my income, my expenditure, everything about my life.
Yeah.
But also, and hopefully with the way we work, we're breaking down those barriers.
Yeah.
Because we need to know what's going on to give people accurate advice.
That's right. And then we're not saying you tell us everything, but if there's quite a key component that's going to affect something to do with the sale, we 100% have to know that.
I had a deal a little while ago where the seller said to me, if I don't get X price, I'm not selling. So I'm doing the marketing, doing the viewings on the basis that if we don't get X price, he's not selling.
Yeah.
Turns out that he needed to sell it he ended up having to consider lower offers. But I'm like, he told me this was his bottom line, so I was working on that basis. So he ended up losing out.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't taking my advice when he needed to take my advice.
Yeah.
Telling me something
that wasn't really true.
And ultimately he suffers for it.
But then, do you, like, in that instance, did you ask, like, well, what do you need that price for? Like, is it just a case of you want to get that price, or do you have things you need to pay for and you need that price to make it happen? You know, because there's more questions you can ask, and if they don't tell you the truth, then how can you help?
Well, exactly, and it's like, oh, if I don't get X price, I don't need to sell it.
Yeah.
Like, right.
The old cliche,
okay, and then it turns out you do need to sell it.
Yeah. The thing is, no one puts their property on the market on a whim. No one just goes, oh, fuck it, we'll see what we can do. No one does that.
Yeah.
Everyone puts their house on for a reason, whether it be a genuine want to move, or a need to move, or a financial reason, or you've been forced to sell it.
Yeah.
No one sticks it on the market for a laugh.
My first year in property, I spent so much time listing houses which were never going to sell.
Yeah. and that's the beauty of, again, coming back to the start of this conversation of where we work now, is we can pick and choose within reason.
Yeah.
If someone says, I don't really want to sell, I just want to go on at that price, and it's 10% over what you valued it at, and it's a shithole house in a shit road, and it's not going to sell, you can turn around and say, do you know what? I'm not the agent for you. I wish you the best luck. I'm not here for you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to work. We're not going to work well together. Whereas you're on the high street and you're working for someone else, you're like, oh, cool, yeah, no worries. Sign here, press hard, get the contract signed.
Yes.
Walk back in the office. Yeah, got a contract. Oh, well done.
Well done. New listing.
Yeah. When actually you're just going to waste people's time.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about what we do now, is we can hand pick and select the clients that we want to work with, that work best with us.
Yeah.
Because that's the best way of doing business.
There was another, one of the partners rang me the other day and said, oh, there's a house in your area. They got in touch with me.
Yeah.
But they only want to work with an agent at 1%. I was like, well, immediately, I'm just not really that bothered, because if the only thing they're worried about is price,
then they're not going to,
Before I've even met them, before I've done the marketing, before I've spent the money on the adverts, etc. If they only care about price, I'm investing 6 months of my life.
Yeah.
So,
And I think from us, I had this the house that I'm going out to see on Monday. It was he called me from he put a post on Facebook, and it was loads of recommendations for avocado, and he called me direct because I'd sold houses in his area.
Yeah.
And first question he asked is, I've just been on the market. I'm looking for a new agent. What's your fees? I was like, cool. Well, first of all, thanks for calling us, but there's no point me telling you my fee, because that's not going to help you move house. I need to know your situation, what's going on. I need to come out and see you and talk about it. And people think it's a sales tactic to get a higher fee. It kind of is, but it's not, because how can if I just quote a fee 1.5%, and there's agents quoting 1% or less, and they're looking at just the numbers, well, I'm going to go with the cheaper one. But once you spend an hour with us and we talk about what we do, and everything we do marketing-wise, and how we're there for them, etc., etc. At the end of that conversation, if they don't want to pay 1.5% and they want to use a 1% agent, absolutely fine, because they've got the facts to make a decision.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, how can you possibly base a fee directly relating to the service you're going to get? You can't do it.
Yeah, well, it's like
without knowing the service.
Like we said in the last podcast, 0.5% on the sale can be lost. Just like that.
It's like calling a builder up and say, I want to extend my house. How much is it going to cost me?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, what is it? Single, double story? How long do you want to do it?
Yeah.
The timescales.
Yeah.
And you call 3 builders. No one's going to price an extension for your house without seeing it, because they don't know what you want. And it's exactly the same for estate agents. I'm
just thinking back, and I reckon the clients where I've been the second agent are more appreciative of my work.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I've sold a couple of touts that have come on the market from other agents where they've been let down. Yeah. Absolutely. And they pay, the fees are normally better because they've experienced low quality crap. And to pay and it's not huge amounts more, as we've said before, it's, it's probably like 0.01% of the property value that you pay in difference of fee. It's not a lot. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's worth it. If you're going to get the right price and get moved, then, you know, what's a couple £100 or a couple of grand? It's worth it.
And I reckon people generally don't realise how long a property transaction takes. And people think about fee when they're meeting with the agents. Yeah. And then they sign up with an agent and they kind of forget about fee. Yeah. Because then you're into the marketing and the viewings and the offer and the sales progression. Yeah. And then the fee comes up again when the invoice comes through.
Well, there's the biggest, obviously the issues with the most complaints happening in a estate agency always surrounds communication, terrible marketing, lack of quality, whatever it may be. No one ever complains that someone's charged me too much. Yeah. Because if they charge you too much and then you complete, you're not going to be pissed off. No. So it doesn't really make a difference.
People don't.
Yeah. Whereas it's the only thing people focus on. Oh, make sure you get the right fee. Don't pay too much on the fee. And it's such a backwards way of looking at things.
I reckon if you ask the average person, what do you want from your house sale? 99% of people are going to say to get the most money. Yeah. But then I reckon if you were 4 months into a transaction and you ask people again,
say, well, that's a very interesting point. Yeah.
Say, well, you've got a £500,000 house, right? And you can have your £500,000. Yeah. And there's a 50% chance of it going through. Yeah. Or you could have 490 grand. Yeah. And that buyer's going to close in 30 days.
Yeah. Which one would you go with?
And I think without understanding it, most people are going to say, oh, well, 10 grand, that's a huge amount of money. I'm going to take the 10 grand. Yeah. But then 4 months into that transaction, when it falls through, you're
just
like,
give me 490 and I'll be done with it. Yeah. No, it is. It's funny how things change. And obviously we take it for granted, our knowledge and experience of the market and how and people's emotions moving forward. Because, you know, we forget that a lot of people only do this once every 5 to 10 years. Yeah. Whereas we're dealing with it 3, 4, 5, 6 times a month of getting to that point of moving house. Yeah. So it's a massive. Yeah, we dealt with thousands of transactions. So
and it's easy to forget. I think the emotion of it all.
Cool. So done with estate agency chat.
Yeah, man.
For a little bit. Yeah. Until next time.
Yeah.
I thought this is probably going to be our final podcast before Christmas. Yeah. Bear in mind it's 9 days away, and I'm flat out next week. We might squeeze one in before. We might do. But what are you looking at?
I was just panicked because I haven't put that clock back.
Over and over, actually.
So I thought it was 12:30. It's 11:30, so we're fine.
Fine. Yeah, no worries. Fine. Okay. We're gonna cut that bit out as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe
it's all in the edit.
Edit again. Anyway, close to Christmas. Probably not going to do a podcast before Christmas. So I wanted to ask you, Matt Barrell, what is your favourite thing about Christmas?
I really enjoy the Christmas music these days because I used to get really annoyed by it. I don't know if that's my favourite thing about Christmas.
Yeah, man, that's a really cool.
That's like, lame, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really lame.
It's not.
That's really lame.
It's definitely not the presents anymore.
Nah, I agree with that.
There's an age you get to where Christmas presents go from being exciting to being stressful.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that transition happened, but it definitely has.
Yeah.
I was talking to Sophie the other day, and we were just talking about Christmas presents. I was like, can I just give you my card? You just buy what you want.
That's a cop-out.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I'm all about the experiences now. So, Lauren, as I said, Lauren's birthday is just after, obviously a week after Christmas, New Year's Day. So, Christmas, we've agreed just to do very small, like one present. She told me what she wants. I've told her what I want. Like 25 quid, done. Yeah. But birthday presents, experiences. But anyway, so it's not about presents. So you still haven't answered the question. What's your favourite thing about Christmas?
Let me go again. I think I really enjoy that period now between Christmas and New Year. Yeah. Because every day is like a different part of the family. Yeah. And it's quite coordinated. Yeah. And it's like, you know, it's kind of like
it's nice. You get to see everyone.
You're just eating, you're drinking, you're seeing people, and that's probably my favourite thing.
Cool. Mate, for me now, it's just the Christmas dinner. Yeah. Like I sit down for the meal with everyone around the table, pull your crackers, and you just dig in because you don't really eat, do you? Like we have a tradition. We have like salmon and stuff and champagne in the morning, and then you sort of have a little snack about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And then you sit down for food about 3, 4-ish, and then it's amazing.
Do you cook?
I did last year. I cooked the whole roast dinner, whole Christmas dinner. This year, I've been tasked solely with roast potatoes because I'm a king at roast potatoes.
All right, let's talk about that quickly.
Okay. I ain't got 20 minutes to talk me through the process.
Because I was scrolling through TikTok as I do, and there's these roast potatoes. I was like, Sunday we're having a roast, and I made these roast potatoes. So, parboil, shake them up, get them a bit
fluffy.
Yeah. Heat the oil.
Yeah.
Make sure they're covered in oil.
Yeah.
Basically, I figure the key is to just the more.
It's pretty much that's my step-by-step process you've named so far. So go on.
Yeah. So the more oil, the
it's all about oil. And do you know what the biggest thing for me is placing them in the pan in the tin correctly. I use a glass bowl now, a long glass oven tray, but never put them flat down because they stick to the bottom.
Yeah.
So always put them on the top, and then you garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and then obviously oil over that. They go in for like 15, 20 minutes, and then you take them out and you flip them over, and then re-oil them, more garlic, more black pepper.
Mine always take quite a long time, so
mine like 55 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Mate, my phone. I'll show you after. We'll put it on the screen. My most recent roast potatoes. Well, I did roasted parsnip and roasted carrots as well.
Love roasted.
So that's what I love about Christmas. But I also, it's not Christmas because it's the day after, but the Boxing Day football.
I thought you were going to say the Boxing Day sandwich. But
No, better than that. Boxing Day football.
Yeah.
So we've got some big games, obviously. My team, Arsenal, kick off 8 o'clock on Boxing Day against West Ham.
Okay.
Your team, Reading. I don't think they're not playing Boxing Day,
on
are
the
they?
27th. I don't know who we're playing. It's just, it's
Swansea. It is Swansea. Reading, Swansea, 27th,
yeah.
But that pales into insignificance when we talk about the mighty Kingfishers. Thatcham Town are playing Uxbridge on 12:30 kickoff on Boxing Day. I will be there, and I'm really looking forward to that. Because it's just going to be good. Have a couple of Guinness, watch the Kingfishers. Nice. Should be. We're not doing too well this year. We're 17th out of 20 in the league.
Imagine it, Boxing Day, 17th in the league, going to watch Thatcham Town.
Yeah, man. That's dedication, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're Lionel Messi turning up, you've got all the crowds there. Imagine going into Thatcham Town. Imagine those players. I hope they're going to turn up.
Mate, we get like between 100 and 150 people. Most games.
So I guess you must feel more part of it then.
Yeah, you do. You generally do. Like when you're cheering the players on. Like you got your first. You call him by the first name.
Yeah, go on, Greg.
Yeah, they're literally. Yeah, well done, Skip. Or because he's captain. I can't remember his name. The captain, Richie. No, I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, that's gonna be a good game. So my mate Tom and I are probably gonna go there.
Cool.
And whoever else wants to come. I know you're away. I want to invite you.
Next year though, we'll catch
you should come to a Thatcham Town game on Saturday.
I like the idea of like proper lower league.
It's good. It's good. And they said it's £4 a pint, half time. Get a couple of Guinnesses in you.
These days, isn't it?
Sorry?
That's these days.
That's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. Well, good value. That's the thing. It's cheap. It's good value. Yeah. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. So Christmas dinner, Boxing Day fixtures, and just seeing my family.
Love it.
Not so much the family, but
yeah. But yeah, man, Christmas is here. First year in business, so it's
Happy days. Happy days. First of many. I know you've got to shoot off for an appointment, haven't you, soon? So
yes.
Should we finish up with what you've been watching? Our traditional segment.
Yeah.
Where do we need to do the jingle still? What you've been watching. Boom. There we go.
I want to show you. I'll have to cut this and pull it up on the computer. Have you heard of Eddie Hall?
What the
He's I think he's a bodybuilder,
world's
strongest man.
Yeah, I know Eddie Hall. Yeah.
So there's this video which I'm going to put on the screen now.
You ready for this? I reckon this guy's going to call the police, but I honestly don't care. He deserves this. That guy's going to regret doing that to me.
He has a tank somehow.
Of course he does. Oh my god!
It's not done too much damage, has it?
Well, you're going to go again?
I think I might go over it again.
So I didn't actually see that video.
Yeah.
The first video I saw was this one when he gets arrested.
But what have I done? You're saying I've run over a car. I'm saying I haven't.
Okay.
We need to take you down to the station to question you, hear your side of the story. However, we do have witnesses who did see you run over a car.
You going in the back of this car, or are you going in the back of a
I
bus?
haven't done anything.
So what happened then?
Well, basically, I was going to the gym, M Club gym, just down the road. And as I was pulling in, this guy cut me up, gave me the middle finger, swearing at me. And then I drove onto the car park. He drove in a disabled spot, called me a load of names, told me to myself and whatever else. And then I might have accidentally run over his car.
So you admit that you did run over his car?
So we've got to arrest you then. It's as simple as that. Now we have to arrest you. We've got you admitting that you run over a car with your tank.
It was by accident.
Brilliant.
I just think that's so funny. If
No,
you own
no.
a tank,
Yeah,
you've got
why
to be
not?
able to throw your tank around sometime.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. I've got one to show you as well for my what you've been watching. I'll give this guy a little plug. His Instagram handle is AskVinE with an H on the end. His name's Vin.
You getting sponsored by any of these people?
No,
yet? I feel
I'm
like
not
you're
getting
always throwing
sponsored.
out their
No, I
Insta
do
handles.
sponsor them. Let me get him up quickly, and then we can thing. Right, he is a. I would class him as a motivational speaker, but he's a coach, a voice coach,
Okay.
and he does all these little videos. He's just gone over 1 million subscribers on the gram. It's fair play to him.
Nice.
My Instagram's not loading, and I had the video ready to go, but it's on my
Oh,
phone.
mate. You on the...
Oh, I've got his name wrong, that's why. Ask Vin. Search. If not, we have to find it on yours. But yeah, anyway, he does these amazing tutorials and talks about how to present and how best to speak. And it got me thinking. I looked back at my original first video that I did in agency, back just after the first lockdown when we started getting into video content. It was my previous company. In fact, I could probably put a clip on and show you what it's like.
On the screen.
I'm just stood there like really awkwardly with a shaved head.
Hi, I'm Ryan from Prospect of Winnersh. Got a couple of new houses coming on the market this week, one of which is this delightful detached house located just off the top of Arbor Lane.
But then this guy really kind of sums up, like, if you want to talk properly to people, some of the stuff he says just makes so much sense. I can't get it up though. Let me rephrase that. I can't get the guy up.
What am I typing in?
Ask Vin H. There we go, top guy.
Oh, I've
Vin
seen
Goering,
this
yeah.
guy.
Let me scroll down to video quickly because
And he talks about recording yourself. And
yeah, that's him. But there's a really good one which makes so much sense, which I pinpointed I wanted to talk or show you.
Because what I will say is getting in front of the camera is really uncomfortable.
It is.
And I'm still not fully comfortable with it. I mean, this setup's kind of
I don't know how to
easy.
use your Mac, mate.
Oh, mate, what's going on?
I just double clicked it by accident. I meant to press play. There you go.
Right, we're putting this on the screen.
Yeah, I'll put this on the screen, yeah.
My vocal teacher. Before I became a speaker, I did a couple of years of vocal training. The first time I ever went to her, I walked into her singing room and she'd sit there playing one key non-stop. She goes, "How do you feel, young man?" And I said, "Nothing," a little bit awkward. And then she played this beautiful song called Romance. And then she goes, "How do you feel, young man?" And I said,
It's actually quite sad.
and she goes, "Vin, most people don't realize, but they go through their entire lives speaking like this. I'm going to teach you how to speak like this." $75 an hour she was. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I gave her a lot of my money. But here's the thing. She goes, "Vin, there are no words to the melody that I just played, yet you feel inspired. Inspiration comes from melody. There's an underlying world of meaning that lives under melody."
So basically what he's saying is there's so many people that just talk monotone, never change the rate, never change the pitch, never change anything. And actually how you speak can change the way someone feels about what you're saying.
Yeah, and I see that.
I
more
love
and
that.
more.
So I follow him now on Instagram, and he just came up in my algorithm just randomly. And I watched one video of his and I thought, yeah, this guy talks sense.
Yeah.
And it does make, I look back now, and even just doing the podcast and the amount of videos we do and the live content, I look back at some of my original videos, even 6 months ago, and there'll be lots of thinking. But now, I've very rarely do it. Like,
you don't realise until you got the camera on you, right?
yeah. Well, we've got cameras on now, and I wouldn't necessarily think I'd stop speaking. But one of the key things I took from him is when he's speaking, and I do it now consciously, and it's becoming second nature. But when there's a pause, or when you're thinking about what to say, you pause rather than going.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't go. So yeah, it's you know what I'm trying to say, don't you, Matt?
Yeah.
But now Matt, you know what I'm trying to say, don't you? And it just sounds so much more clear,
Absolutely.
technical. So I think the biggest thing I've taken from him is don't replace ums with pauses, and everything you say becomes far more powerful.
I love that. And you can slow things down. You can actually take that pause and not have to fill the silence all the time.
Yeah, because you don't need to speak continuously. A pause is as good as it is, because people, if you're talking about something they're interested in, I'm doing it purposely now, but they're engaged, they're hanging on for the next part of what you're going to say.
I remember, obviously we talked about my band days on the podcast before, and I remember it was always the case when I was on stage, I could feel like I was giving 100%, but then someone would show me a video, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't look as 100% as I felt like it was.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing when you're on video. You can think you're being quite animated and engaging, and then you can watch it back and you're not at all.
Yeah, I think, fuck, I was boring. Yeah. But he talks about, I mean, I urge you, not just the fact it's my watching, but do follow him on Insta.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
I'll follow him on the Living Room Chat podcast, so maybe you'll follow us back, I don't know. He's got 1 million followers. But
yeah, I saw you follow some people on the Living Room Chat podcast.
Yeah.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Gary Neville, Sky Sports.
yeah, nothing to do with my personality. But feel free to jump in and add people.
Yeah,
I thought it's good just to get a few things, because I like having the different channels we've got now across our social media platforms. I mean, I've got 4 Facebook pages that I run now or manage, and 3 Instagrams.
Yeah.
TikTok's your thing. I just go on there and just follow.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Got a post, man. So you get 2.5 million views. TikTok algorithm. Also, on the TikTok algorithm, it's fully about how long people watch the video for.
Yeah.
So I can have like a video that will get 300 views, no one's watched it.
Yeah.
But if people actually watch it, that's when you get the...
It goes crazy.
Yeah.
Goes crazy.
Anyway.
Fair play.
Cool. Should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up. Episode 4. Thank you,
mate.
everyone, so much for watching or listening, or whichever way you've done it. Just a quick plug, as we said before, we're live on Spotify. All of our episodes are straight on there. We're on YouTube, across the social media platforms. The link in the description will take you to every single one of those if you want to. Please like and subscribe and follow, and listen preferably as well, but definitely start with a like and follow. Anything else to add on that, Matt?
That's it, man. We got to go. We got to go.
Excellent.
We'll see you in the next one. And we're also going to get some music as well. We need to work on that over Christmas, some like podcast music and stuff like that. But
as in what, background for the podcast? Or?
we'll to put over right now where it goes ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that. Nice one. Thanks, everyone.